Alright, folks, it is time for, it's time once again for the ARC Formula 1 Championship presented by DIVEBOMB. I'm sure we'll be seeing plenty of those today. It's the Mexican Grand Prix, as qualifying has pretty much just started, as we're watching the beginnings of the very first hot lap of the session, on board with Fidel Fabian and the Red Bull. Someone just joined, I don't know who it is, but I think I saw the leaderboard move around. You're getting... I'd have to imagine we're getting near the end of the season. I think it's 20 round calendar? No, that wouldn't be right. I think it's 18. Yeah, fun fact, Mexico, or the Mexican Grand Prix, probably my least favorite track in the whole calendar. I do not enjoy this track. But it's not the worst for racing action, I just don't like to drive on it, so at the very least I don't have to be on the racetrack. I get to commentate the race instead. As Fabian heads up to the start-finish, the first lap of the session will be a 17-2-1 for the Red Bull driver. I have absolutely no idea who'd come in next. I think it was Gabe Gazzola that moved the leaderboard around. Where's this teammate that's next? What? Jonathan Jurgensmeyer comes through and he runs the exact same lap time. What the heck? That's certainly a new one. And okay, that's intermediate tires. Interesting. Okay, that's a little more like it. Mikey De Jong with a 1647 to absolutely top. Never mind. It's Ethan Fonseca, yes, that's who this is, on his, like, 4th username in his time in ARC alone. He runs a 16.2 flat. Never mind, now it's Nicolas Pouchet with the 15.93. Maybe I should just wait for everybody to finish their lap and then announce who has the professional pole, because it just keeps changing. Oh, how are you allowed to do that? $16.67 for Stotts. This is like for one of the first times in a while where doesn't seem like there are any major like lineup stories going on. There are no new drivers, no drivers on new teams, no. There is like all reserve, I think, and that's Fidel Fabian. I don't think he's a full-time Red Bull driver. Actually, I just realized this doesn't make any sense. Gabe shouldn't even be in this race if because he runs T1A, which is AlphaTauri, and yet he's reserving for not AlphaTauri. That's not the racetrack, my guy. Just trying to look for, like, anything to watch as we, await, like, the next round of hot laps. What is behind him? Oh, it's De Jong. Look at the leaderboard, Riker. Maybe that would help. So we shall work on the obligatory, like, tour of the circuit thing once Mikey De Jong begins his next flying lap. I kind of like to entrust those to a person who will actually, like, run the lap relatively well. So I tend to like to watch the laps of people who are fast. Alright, as we head across the start-finish line and down the very long front straightaway, we'll be seeing probably a lot of overtakes in, like, asterisks down here. Heading into turn 1, it's you gotta kind of set yourself up for 3 individual turns that all kind of seem to believe that they're on a street course because they're 90-degree corners. Gonna get some traffic here that's not getting out of his way. Now it is, finally. Another 2 90-degree turns. Actually, this one's a little more than 90 degrees. And then we have a hairpin, which is a double 8 apex corner. And then we have the S's, which looks like if the track designer just had a sneeze in the middle of drawing the track map. It's very easy to extend in the second half of those S's in particular, so be mindful of that. And then we have the right-hander into the stadium section, which is certainly one of the corners. The stadium hairpin, which is the slowest corner on the track, I do believe. Very easy to spin on that corner exit, and then we just have the final turn, which is like a parabolica that fits in your pocket. And heading up to the line, a 16-1 for Mikey De Jong, so slots right in between the 2 Ferraris. Meanwhile, Nico Pichet is running slightly faster than his PB. It worked. He's 2.5 tenths up. He just needs to not drop it off in the stadium, and he will be into the mid-15s, I would say. He also needs this car to not be in his way, which it isn't, so... And out of the last turn for Pichet. And it is a 15:45. No, 48. I can't read that stupid purple font. Jeebus. I would say, does his teammate have an answer? But his teammate is 4.5 seconds slower. So, I'm gonna go ahead and say no, not right now. And right on board with Matthew Stotts on his way around the circuit. Almost on his way off the circuit with that little bit of understeer at the exit. And there it is. As I said before, it's very easy to just go a little bit over your limitations through the second half of those S's, the last right-left section of it, and find yourself with some track limit penalties. In this case, it's simply just track extension, but... Go for another lap? That's a bold decision. I don't really know if that's going to work. No, he's ungoing for it. Why don't you just pit in then? Let's see here. I never remembered you running a lap. Fidel Fabian gained 2/100ths. At some point, Jurgens might have reached the 16s, and then he's already on his next outlap, so he's working fast over there. Wow, Ryan Phillips is in absolutely no hurry. At the moment, if you ignore the alien, that is the person who just retired from the session, and probably doesn't even have to run another lap. Because I don't think that 1548 is going to be touched anytime soon. If you ignore that alien, ooh, big oversteer for Phillips out of 3. The opposite of Matthew's thoughts, who understeered there. If you ignore Piché, the entire field is, for the most part, separated by, like, just a second and a half. Luke Allen is 2 seconds off. Gabe is around. And Kyler Boggs ran his 18.5 on hard, so he's gonna have more pace there later when he's not on them. Oh, dearie me. For those DRS, okay. Man activates DRS. Dylan Thomas is the only remaining driver who has not done a lap yet. And here comes Fonseca to begin his next attempt, trying to do something about his teammate's 15.4. At least get within half a second of him, if nothing else. You know, make it seem like there's a chance that somebody else could win the race. Suspend disbelief for even a moment. Tenth up through Sector 1, but then again, Sector 1 is literally 3 corners, so... Sector 2 is what'll generally make or break your lap time, because it's where you have all of the really difficult corners. And he is down on his previous time, so forget breaking into the 15s or getting close to the pole time. He's looking like he's not even going to improve at all at the moment. Out of the final turn, and he is trying too much, and he has oversteered, and he might get disqualified for blocking the pit lane if he's not careful. I've certainly seen that before. Well, maybe perhaps a slightly embarrassing end to that qualifying time effort. I believe that is essentially the end of Fonseca's qualifying session as well, as with the pit road stuff that they have to do. He's not going to get out again in the next 20 seconds. This is a driver that I thoroughly expect to do a little more than he's currently at the moment. 17.1 does not look good on Al-Hazmi. You should at least be in the 16s if nothing else. That was track limits. I don't know how the game didn't nab him for that. I've seen laps get invalidated for much less. Perhaps unsurprisingly, Kyler Boggs up by 3/10, probably because his original run was a lap time set on hard tires. So, I think it'd be an absolute disappointment if it weren't considerably quicker. Into the stadium. At least the layout of Mexico makes it easy to not be in the way of people that are behind you on qualifying runs. And so out of the last turn for the AlphaTauri, it's a 17 flat, which puts him right in the middle of everything. Honestly, depending on who you'd ask, some people would probably say that they wish they didn't make another lap, because that's like the most dangerous place on the starting grid right there. And if you start, you know, towards the back of the grid, you can kind of avoid the madness that is the first handful of turns, and it's Mexico, so it's going to be incredibly mad. More than slightly. Why haven't I been fired yet? Al-Hazmi is up by 6.5 or so tenths going through Sector 2. So this will get him into the 16s for sure. But how far in is the question. Out of the last turn for the Williams, what will it be? A 16.3. That is certainly much more on brand with what I have come to expect from the Williams driver here. Puts him on second row. Tyler Crabtree is not at all on a fast lap time. And it is now down to Julius Duku, who's about to cross the line and gain no time. And Dylan Thomas, who is not going very fast. I don't know what that was about. I think he was in low fuel mode or something. He never made a single lap time. That's certainly one of the bigger skill gaps I've seen in qualifying in a while. The difference between pole and last is 2.5 seconds. But if you take away the slowest and the fastest lap time, it's only 1.7. I didn't even notice that Mikey De Jong took P2 away from Fonseca with a 15.9. So the other Ferrari wasn't even the one that reached the 15s. It's Ferrari versus Williams on the front two rows. We've returned to... What would this be, like... When were those two teams have fought? I'm trying to... Like... 93? No, that would have still been McLaren. Like, 90... I don't know. When would those two teams have fought? Because it shows my bathroom doors open, so you've been hearing my furnace this whole time. Oops. Am I an idiot? Did I ever even have like a constructors battle? Like, I want to say, I keep wanting to say 1995. I don't quite think that's true. I don't think Ferrari was competitive then. I don't think Williams was either. I don't know. I'm talking out of my bodily diffuser right now, so. Alright, so on the formation lap, to run down the full grid order, on pole, perhaps unsurprisingly at this point, is Nico Pichet, and then the Williams of Mikey De Jong shares the front row, followed by the other Ferrari of Ethan Fonseca in third, and the other Williams of Abdurrahman Al-Hazmi in P4, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer with P5 on the grid, two Aston Martins, P6 and 7, Andrew Davis, P8. The two, or nope, no. Fidel Fabian, P9. Kyra Boggs, P10. Ryan Phillips, 11th. AJ Knickel, P12. Julius Duku, P13. Luke Allen, P14. Gabe Cazola, 15th. And Dylan Thomas starts last after putting in no lap time at all during the qualifying session. I think definitely the the stories of this race will be how many overtake attempts go completely wrong in turn 1, and will we ever see any attempts into the stadium section, the right-hander that most of the field are going through at the moment, such as Fidel, this corner. It's a DRS zone, which insinuates that you can make passes there, but it really doesn't happen very often. Generally, the most consistent passing zone is going to be into the 4th corner, because if you just pass them in 1, 2, and 3, they can get DRS going towards 4 and take it back from you if you didn't get far enough ahead. Stotts and Davis failed their parking jobs. And the other story of the race is, of course, going to be how many drivers get penalized, or just in general caught for exceeding track limits through the S's, particularly the second to last and final corners of it. But 3, 4, 5 lights are illuminated, and the Mexican Grand Prix is away. So we have the green flag. No duh. And this is, oh yeah, there it is. The two AlphaTauris are already destroyed. I'm not really sure what just instigated that. But there is the turn 1 madness. And it seems almost as if I predicted that. That's, Kyra Boggs would not have been there if he just didn't put in another lap. The game has elected to not do any sort of safety procedures for those two having their collision, though. So we'll race on as planned. As everyone slowly trickles through the middle section of the circuit. As Ethan Fonseca is showing signs of vulnerability to his teammate / championship rival. I believe he must have gotten loose somewhere along the way. He's now down to P8. Certainly drivers that are in the hot seat at the moment, well, the ones surrounding the person at the lowest point. AJ Knickel up 5. Dylan Thomas up 7. Oh, they're 3 wide. This is going to be something right here. Knickel, Crabtree, and Davis. AJ's just going to clear all 3 before we even get to turn 1. Crabtree and Andrew are continuing to battle for that 6th position throughout the corners. They managed to shuffle out with no damages. And then here comes Ethan. He was this close to Dino Ricciardoing the McLaren, go figure. The intervals are having an absolute meltdown. And so is Fonseca's cornering. Oh, Andrew Davis found a curb. And his wing is destroyed. Nico Piche has already found himself at a 4-second advantage over 2nd place. We've only done 2 laps. Crabtree has the slightest advantage on the Haas of Juergensmeyer, but it's not enough to justify a dive bomb into 1. Better to wait until 4, I suppose, because... Well, no, because DRS apparently does not exist. I thought it did, but no. There's no separate detection zone. He's nearly got his braking wrong and has to take some evasive action to not smack into the Haas, giving Ethan Fonseca a free position. And letting Dylan Thomas decide that turn 6 is the best passing zone. Don't hit the curves like that too much, you'll be joining your teammate in 16th. Yeah, so there's the first DRS trigger of the race, however, it doesn't do a whole lot yet. It usually doesn't, so I'm not surprised that it didn't here. Here we go. This one's gonna make a difference, and Jurgensmeyer is absolutely vulnerable. And Fonseca just breezes past with not a single issue. Crabtree... well, was nowhere near. The two Williams cars... oh, Mikey passed him into one. I was like, why doesn't he have DRS? He's definitely close enough. Oh, Phillips almost just sent Luke Allen back to thumbnail land. Almost gave him his clickbait title with that one. That might have been track limits. It's hard to tell, but it certainly looked off. There's the first one of the session, and it's Andrew Davis, so he's back in 16th. It barely even matters yet. I'm thinking Jurgensmeyer had just gotten a warning from that. Man, it just got him like he wasn't even on the gas, says Crabtree, and now this DRS is basically just a participation award. And there's that. Let's get it out of the way early. This time, Phillips is in a much more realistic position to make a pass, and, well, does so. I never even looked at the tire everybody was on. Oh well, so that explains why Piché has gotten such an advantage already. Because he started this race on the soft compound, probably expecting an early safety car. Mikey started on hard tires, as did his teammate. That's also probably how AJ is running P4 right now, because he has a tire advantage. Dylan Thomas is about to overtake Jurgensmeyer, and he's clear before we even reach turn 1 itself. Yeah, ugly lockup from Jurgensmeyer trying to stick with the McLaren. Oh, and he's off to join his team. No, he's out of the race entirely with that curb collision. And there is Nico's safety car. And Crabtree is also out of the race. somewhere over the rainbow. I don't even... Where is this car? What? I'm lost on where he went. Both Ferrari drivers deciding to go to mediums. I don't really think those can go that far. I wonder if maybe they're banking on yet another safety car following this one. It's not the worst idea. Fidel Fabian is sitting P4, which is that's a new one right there. So now there's nobody left on the soft tires. Everybody is on mediums or hards. AJ Knickel, currently the only driver that has a fresh set of hards equipped. Nobody else does. That's an interesting call, Jurgensmeyer. I guess he sees that Piche and Fonseca were on mediums. He's like, well, if they think they can go to the end, then I guess I can also go to the end. I'm not entirely sure I follow. While we continue the rest of the safety car, I must step away for a split second. Alrighty, I stepped away so I could blow my nose so I can breathe. Breathing is an important component of commentating. I cannot speak if I cannot breathe in air. So... yeah, so I suppose as this safety car restart is about to befall us, the main place to really look, I suppose, will be at Nico Piche. He's on the fresh medium tires, and I don't know if those go to the end or not, but certainly for the next dozen laps or so, they will be very fast tires. So P will be the, well, I think he'd be the fastest car on the track if he was on, like, intermediate tires, but he's going to be by far the fastest when he has the freshest, softest tires on the grid. 6 laps younger and a softer compound than the 3 cars ahead of him. The same sort of applies to Fonseca, but to a lesser extent, because he just has to make up more places to get to where his teammate is. Whereas Piche only has to make 3 passes. So... and Mikey is gassing it up at his earliest convenience, catching even his teammate entirely off guard. However, didn't hurt him too much. It has, however, hurt Fidel Fabian, who currently has a Ferrari for company. The mid-pack is 2x2, and it's getting incredibly dicey. Julius Ducu has been used up like a towel. And Phillips has spun across the track into Julius? Yep. Julius. I don't know if the AlphaTauri has suffered damage, but based on the way that his car is turning, I'm going to go ahead and say yes. I also do not know if Fonseca got any damage from that. He gave a bit of a tap to the rear of the Red Bull in 2. It doesn't really look like his handling is that much worse, so I'm going to go ahead and guess no. And down the inside, Piche goes on Al-Hazmi into the corner that I said nobody ever passes through. Go figure. I guess when the pace difference isn't enough, you can make any corner a passing zone. And front stretch time, still no DRS. But Piche might have the slightest trace of a slipstream here. Not that it matter all that much. And have the war of teammates. Unless Luke gets clear right here, which he does. That's okay. Anticlimactic. He's kind of missed turn 1 though. And they're both a little bit slidey on the exit of 3. Luke would have been in deep trouble there if it wasn't his teammate. The 2 drivers with penalties currently fighting for P9 on track. And fighting very closely they are. Andrew's not even given a chance to get back onto the actual tarmac. He's just having to ride the curbs and gets another time penalty for his troubles. You know, God forbid he try not to run into Gabe Cazola. Obviously. And, alright, there goes the other McLaren. I think he just spun across Kyler Boggs, handing him a DNF. Because I think his tire was off before he ever hit a wall, so that's my only analysis, is that he spun into Kyler. You can hear the echoes of Kyler Boggs' infamous, "Oh, come on, man," from here. Especially if that gave him damage, which I'm pretty sure it... no, it didn't. Or if it did, it wasn't enough to make him pit. So now, the remaining hard tire runners, with the exception of Kyler Boggs himself, and AJ, who's already pit once, the ones who started on the hards, at the very least, are now no longer on them, and I would certainly believe that mediums can make it to the end from here, but it is going to be a little sketchy. So now everybody on the grid has stopped at least one time. So hypothetically, everyone here thinks they can go to the end from here on whatever tires they're on. At least that's my assumption. I'm still not really sure if the people who are on the mediums from the last safety car really can go 30 laps. Which is basically all of the top 6 except for AJ. But, well, I mean, I suppose it's their job to know that, not mine. If they can make those tires go 30 laps, then all the power to them. I'm a little skeptical, I guess, just because looking at the relativity of tire life, the tires don't usually do more than, like, usually, like, soft tires, like, relative to total race distance, they can't even get through maybe 20% race distance before they're done. Mediums can usually go about 45-50%, and hards can usually go about 75% of the race distance. This is on a this is a track-by-track basis. You can probably go through the whole race at some tracks on one set of tires if you're careful enough. Tracks that come to mind would be like a Monaco, or like in Australia, tracks that are low cornering speed for the most part, but then there are tracks like Silverstone where it doesn't matter what tire compound you're on, you're making 2 stops, pretty much, because the degradation at that track is absolutely insane. Let's see, will the safety car continue to wait for Ryan Phillips, or will it go in here, because he's the only person not there? He might get there just in the nick of time, too. We'll see in a moment. Alright, so yeah, the safety car is going in. And Piche is going to have to back up an almighty amount. It's almost Noah's Arkian. The top 6 are 2 Ferraris, 2 Alpines, 2 Haas's. What an absolute cluster truck. Piche just failed to accelerate there. He got jumped by half the field. Now we've got what looks more like a NASCAR race heading into T1. It certainly makes for a fancy looking picture. If I had the wherewithal to take the scoreboard off the screen for a moment, but I didn't. But, yeah, might want to look into that start, or restart, because that was a little bit dysfunctional. Jurgensmeyer has no interest in too wide into the first part of the S's at all. I do not blame him. Generally speaking, not a great idea. Nope, this is Piche. He's on the warpath to recover from that restart. Restart! That was timing, because I thought he was a little off, and I thought that was him getting a penalty, but no, it is Ryan Phillips, who's currently fighting for his life against Al-Hazmi for P10. I feel like that's a little bit of a exercise in futility. And both Williams have to pit for damage, so yikes. A great Ferrari master plan. Basically disable the only 2 cars that really were like the competition to the 2 Ferraris. I'm of course being sarcastic. I don't think anybody has the presence of mind to actually think that way. No matter how utilitarian you are, I don't really think that's crossing anyone's mind when it comes to a safety car restart. Well, that's certainly one of the overtakes I've ever seen. And even from the lead, Ethan Fonseca making just little tiny mistakes that'll add up after a while. As he's obtained a time penalty. DRS is enabled, but it won't help Piché on this lap. Or at least not this half of the lap. It'll help him if he can't get the move done before the end of the S's, but I don't know. At this point right now, I think these tires are probably not even. I think the mediums are still faster. No, he's not going to get it done before the S's. He didn't have the greatest run out of 3, allowing Kyler Boggs to stay in P2. We'll see if he can get a big run out of the S's and pass into the forbidden corner. But if not, DRS will be available, and I have little doubt in my mind. Whoa. He just watched Boggs do the same thing Fidel did. Speaking of Fidel, he gets a time penalty. You have to attack those curbs in the S's to achieve maximum pace. The only problem is that those curbs tend to spin you out. Or at the very least, make you lose control and force you to correct an oversteer moment. Which, either way, you're losing a lot of time. And that's what we have learned with the way that as we watched Nico Piché overtake both Kyler and Fidel in the exact same manner. Could have another war of teammates. But I think, yeah, Luke Allen just not even gonna resist that even a little bit. Probably because he's been told not to. That'd be my guess. It's like these curves aren't really consistent with it either. Kyler Boggs has made an absolute mishap out of the last part of the S's. Fidel decides that now is his moment. And so it was. He has taken P3 away. But as we're about to get back onto the front straightaway, I just kind of have to wonder if that was really worth it. Because now it's going to be Kyler Boggs with DRS advantage. And he's just going to take it right on back. Goodbye, back to P4. And that's a double trigger, so Kyler Boggs is going to have more DRS heading into 4, so Fidel won't even hold on to the position. He can't even try to take it back because he doesn't have DRS, but Kyler does. I don't really understand those double triggers. Like, just put a detection zone in the middle of like turn 2 or something. If they're side by side through there, don't give anybody DRS, and if somebody's clearly behind through there, give them DRS. I don't understand these double triggers, if I must be perfectly honest. And now we find Piché right on the diffuser of his teammate, the leader. I'm interested to see how they handle this. Will they actually battle for this position? Will there be a battle? You know, assuming Piché doesn't just press the funny go faster button and just screech ahead of him before we can even do anything about it. My furnace is kicking on again. Because I just remembered I left the bathroom door open again. He's close. He's getting there. Yeah, they're going for it. And they're not going for it cleanly either. I mean, they're clean, but they're not, like... They're not, you know... What am I trying to say? They're fighting, I guess. That's what I'm attempting to say in my brain. Just like, I don't know what words are. I don't know. What are you looking for? Down the inside, I thought they just about turned each other there. Still a chance for it, that's for sure. Especially with Piché giving absolutely no breathing room to his teammate. Fonseca gets another time penalty. Piquet elects to not send it into the stadium section. Now we head back onto the main straightaway, and with that distance between him and Fonseca, this should be pretty much a formality. Goodbye. And once again, Piquet will have DRS second time, so this battle is over. Because let's even further back now and bring up... That wasn't even really worth taking the UI away. That was just a waste of time. Like, that was a formality the second that Piquet crossed the DRS zone line. Like, he was 2/10 behind him, if not even less than that. There's no way he doesn't pass him there, even if he didn't have any battery left, which he did, so... These curves are not consistent either. It's not like you touch them and you always spin. Sometimes you get close, other times you don't even lose control at all, and then there's just the time every once in a while where the game says, you know what, no, and just auto spins you, and there's something you can do about it. But you just kind of have to guess, and it's always it's a required guess because you have to take those curves if you wish to be fast. It's hardly a case of, oh, if I don't want to risk spinning out, I just don't hit them. No. You have to, or you're going to be losing like several tenths of a second in one lap, or just, you know, even one sector. Sector? What? Sector, for that matter, let alone one lap. So it really isn't negotiable. You will hit these curbs, and you will need a new pair of trousers. There is no way around it. Just cross your heart and hope to DNF. This battle for third is staying pretty much equidistant at the moment. Kyler Boggs is out of battery though, whereas Fidel has 30 or so. AJ does not. And Luke Allen has lost control in the S's, but I mean, it looks like his wing is still there. It's hard to tell exactly, but it doesn't look that broken. Fidel, I thought was close, he actually really isn't all that close. He's still gonna press the battery anyway. Fabian is probably going to want to get a move on when it comes to making this overtake, because eventually, not before too long, those hard tires are going to end up being faster than the mediums. It'll be right at the end of the race, but it's still going to happen. And if it is not going to want to be nearby Kyler Boggs when it does. So apparently his wing was damaged, and I just couldn't tell. Because Luke Allen has pitted in. Another penalty for Ethan Fonseca. Make it 9 seconds added to his race time, so he's literally in almost a net P6 at the moment if he doesn't watch himself. He has the joint most penalties on the track, and that's not really the greatest appearance from a guy who's supposed to be fighting for the championship. Okay, he's more fighting to keep his car in the track limits, it seems like. Fidel Fabian, almost as if he heard me, pits in off of the medium tires. Possibly just onto another set of medium tires, but that has absolutely thrown AJ's mojo off. Because now he has to close in to get back to Kyler Boggs and get DRS of his own. As it seemed that AJ was more than happy to... So that... What? That is a trigger there. But only if you weren't there the first... Huh? F1, you confused me. So, on previous laps, we've obviously seen cars that get DRS, make a pass into 1. They have DRS again, making their way down to turn 4. Knickel did not have DRS going up to turn 1. But he got it again going through 4 anyway. Huh? At any rate, however, Kyler Boggs has turned on the jets at this moment, and it seems as though AJ's not even going to have DRS this time. If he does, it's barely. He does, but barely. Piche pits in once again, so I was kind of right. There was no way mediums were going to the end of the race. Which therefore means that Fonseca will also have to pit in again. Which would leave Kyler and AJ with the best track position and tires that can reach the end of the Grand Prix, I am fairly certain. But it leaves Fonseca and, well, Piche and later Fonseca. Whoa. I just literally jumped out of my chair almost when I saw his car go a little sideways. So yeah, I guess I hadn't really considered the repercussions of that. That puts Kyler Boggs in the net lead of the Grand Prix. AJ Knickel, the only driver really anywhere nearby him. Unless Fonseca actually thinks he's going to get into the Grand Prix, which I would personally would say is just foolish to think that that's going to happen. That was weird looking. And there's the funny go fast button. Julius defends inside, and surprisingly De Jong does not get clear at the braking zone. De Jong has been forced out wide, but there's the funny go fast button once again. And I think that this battle is over. It's actually not, I am kidding. Julius has got his wing there and he's gonna use it to stay alongside the Williams, and they're gonna go to the hairpin. And Julius might... Nope, Mikey's gonna commit to staying too wide through here. And with the inside lane, finally, half of a lap later, the pass is completed. And that's left Julius very vulnerable to Ryan Phillips. But Julius brakes incredibly late into that corner, keeping a hold of the position. It is the great Gabe Cazola train. I didn't even notice that they were catching this. Luke has little to no issues dispatching of Gabe Cazola with a very obvious tire advantage. Those mediums have gone 20 laps. I'm thinking, no. His and Fonseca's are probably getting near the end of their life. Now Fonseca is no doubt stretching his a little further. Doing so will allow him to pit onto soft tires. And he's going to want to do that pretty darn soon, because for the looks of things, his mediums are off the cliff. Either that or he spun somewhere along the way, but all of a sudden, he finds Kyler Boggs filling his mirrors because those hard tires are probably not that bad right now. Oh my god, Gabe has been absolutely mugged. He's forced Ryan Phillips off the track a little bit, and nearly spun himself out in the process. Kyler Boggs is going to shoot to the outside of Fonseca. And that is a very far away camera, and they make huge contact. And AJ is now the one in P2 following that. Let's see what the Alpine has in store if he can maybe be a little more successful in taking away P1. His battery count is absolutely having a meltdown. Oh my word. The braking force on that Ferrari is a little bit compromised as well, as a Kinnickle just about runs him over. And now Fonseca goes in, but he stayed out just long enough to give AJ some DRS. And keep Kyler Boggs at bay. Or at least so I thought he would do. Well, your send has been cancelled as we now have a safety car for Ryan Phillips and Gabe Cazola in separate incidents around in the final sector. And then Fonseca on mediums. Okay. He had 7 laps to go. I think Softs could have done that, unless he just had none left. Like, I think even a U set would have been not a bad idea. Well, time to go close the bathroom door a second time, because I opened it to throw a Kleenex away and then forgot to close it again, so hopefully you guys can ignore the aerodynamics chamber in the background, because the furnace is not quiet. Nothing in this house is. Well, this just trivializes things for Nicolas Piche, who's now just going to inherit the lead off that alone. Although that said, the cars behind him, well, behind him and his teammate. No, not even that. Yeah, that. Fonseca's jumping both. Alright, maybe it doesn't trivialize things. Because, yeah, Piche is going to get back to the lead, but everyone behind him is going to have way better tires. So maybe aren't huge threats to take the lead away from him. but some definitely are. She knows I'm commentating. She woke me up from my nap for this specific purpose. You know I'm still commentating, right?
I'm making any noise.
Well, that's debatable because that microwave wakes up the whole neighborhood when you slam the door.
Well, guess what?
We're just gonna have to live with it, I guess. Because the race is, yeah, we're about to go back green here. So, hear random beeping in the background, don't be surprised. Or pot or soda cans. 2 Ferraris on mediums versus the entire rest of the grid on softs. How's this gonna pan out? This time, no restart madness. Everything looks about as normal, almost too normal, as everyone just in an orderly single file line heading towards T1. Except for these two. Oh! Gabe has forced Al-Hazmi upon the curbs and has committed Williams' elimination. Now, I don't know if those were connected at all, but what is going on? I've heard of cold tires, but goodness me. Well, Jake, you had to say something in the chat, didn't you? Al-Hazmi's just been absolutely deposited on this lap. Piche is on the slowest tires right now. I would just like to point that out. What is going on? What is going on in the House of Commons? What is going on back here for P9? Bog just got a penalty for corner cutting and gaining a place. I'm not really sure what these bottom three are doing. It doesn't really look a whole lot like Formula 1 though, whatever it is. It's like Formula .66 repeating. Like, what is going on back there? Yeah, Scarborough, who is in the chat, not sure why he wasn't in the race. Joking about, oh, his buddies are P5 and P6, and then that very same restart Jurgensmeyer is in P4. But now Fidel's in last, so... I mean, I didn't see... I know both Kyler and him were spun in turn 4, but I don't know if contact was to blame at all for that, or if that was just, you know, isolated things that happened at the same time. And I also just remember that Fonseca has about 21 minutes worth of penalties, so AJ doesn't even have to make this overtake. It literally does not matter, because, well, I was gonna read that interval, you two. Okay, never mind. Well, no, actually he is behind both of them, because that's gap to leader, not gap to Ethan. No, Gabe and Mikey are just brawling for P7. And Gabe just turns right in on him. Obviously, Gabe has quite a long history with this team in all of its forms. Even earlier this season, for that matter. These two parties, as Mikey gets a time penalty trying to get to him. Nothing doing there. Another, well, I mean, no Grand Prix one's ever easy, but... Oh, that's not the end of the race. I'm an idiot. Okay, keep fighting. What the fuck? Oh, what am I looking at? I believe AJ made an error somewhere. Because now suddenly Jurgensmeyer is looking to take a net P2 away from the Canadian. And he's got a pretty good exit there. He might just do it. They're going to be two abreast into the final DRS zone of this track. Can Jurgens might execute the crossover? No, AJ ran very wide on the exit, preventing that. And almost as if never in doubt, Nico Piche wins the Mexican Grand Prix. Fonseca second on track, but he is going to tumble. Holy sh... As all the penalties tick through. Something happened to Gabe Cazola, I totally missed, but I think I have a guess as to what it has to do with. I'm sure I'll be seeing that incident report later. This is... Well, I mean, I expected this winner. This was hardly even a question for me when I saw he was running mid-15s. However, I didn't expect a double podium for the Alpine team today. AJ P2 and Luke P3 on after penalties. God, all of those penalties. That's how the Alpines got there, because they were the only two drivers other than Piche that avoided a bunch of time pens. The game said Asia Knickel, but I'm thinking Luke Allen's driver of the day because, well, yeah, AJ technically made up more spots throughout the race. This is Luke's first F1 podium, and he started lower on the grid, so... Yeah, actually, no, he made up more spots. Luke made up 11, AJ made up 10. So that'll do it for the Mexican Grand Prix. Next, I do know, actually, for once, the next Grand Prix will be the Brazilian GP. And until that, Riker Lomo is signing off.